So I hope we all are ready for the technical session, the first technical session for today. And for facilitation of the first technical session, I would like to invite our facilitator for the session, Mr. Yoshinobu Fukasawa, who has served as the civil servant in Ministry of Land, Infrastructure, Transportation, and Tourism in Government of Japan from 1982 to 2017, and engaged in national and regional and territorial development, disaster risk reduction, emergency management, and international cooperation. He was seconded to UN Habitat Headquarters in Nairobi, UN Development of Humanitarian Affairs in Geneva, and Disaster Risk Reduction and Humanitarian Renovation Institution as Deputy Executive Director, and to our regional office in Fukuoka of UN Habitat as the Regional Director to look over 30 countries of the region. He joined Nishi Nippon Railroad Company in 2017 after departing from UN Habitat as the Director for Overseas Business Development Department, and he is now associated with Kyushu Sangyo University from 2021 as specially appointed professor. So without further ado, I would like to request Mr. Yoshinobu-san to come and take this mic as the facilitator to introduce the session and then to move forward with the technical session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pragya, and good morning to everybody, distinguished guests and friends and colleagues. The Pragya mentioned three capacities that I have been assuming so far. I'm a former Ministry of Land, Infrastructure, Transport, Tourism man, MLIT person. For the longest period of time, 35 years. In between, I was seconded to the United Nations. So secondly, I was a former UN Habitat Regional Office for Asia Pacific man. And currently, I happen to be a professor of one of the universities located in Fukuoka. I'm really happy to be here. And in 2016, as Bruno has already mentioned very well, in 2016, UN Habitat and MLET of Japanese government launched SPP, Spatial Planning Platform, in Habitat 3 conference in Ecuador, Quito, and which was during my time, and this makes me extra happy and proud to be a part of this important meeting of today. Therefore, in the capacity of one of the participants of this of today, as well as former MLIT man, as well as former UN Habitat man, I reiterate my profound appreciation to the government of Nepal for hosting this very important meeting, and the distinguished colleagues from around the world, and not to mention UN Habitat. My academic background is a civil engineering and planning, and particularly in what is called comprehensive territorial or spatial development at the national level. In MLIT, I was engaged several times in the issues of a national comprehensive spatial development plan. In short, let's call it NCSDP, I'm not used to that, NCSDP, National Comprehensive Spatial Development Plan. And I dealt with several different aspects and functions of the plan, such as central and peripheral disparity, location of physical infrastructure construction, and key regional development projects, balancing urban and rural, balancing of economy and environment and social cohesion, governance issue, central and vertical coordination, finance and taxation, etc., etc. Japan has relatively long history of the legislations of comprehensive special development plan at the national and regional level. It began in 1950, which was when Japan was just about to begin its high-pace economic growth of 1960s and 70s. In fact, the National Comprehensive Spatial Development Plan was greatly useful for various coordination, particularly in a very high political level. In those days, you know, the economy was moving, all sorts of infrastructure projects had to be done, and the people moving from rural area to urban area and all sorts of things. Everybody's running around and everybody's pursuing the further prosperity, and everybody was wanting to do everything. And everybody was putting a lot of enormous pressure to the politicians at the time. And in this context, the process of formulating the National Development Comprehensive Plan was a very useful platform for setting priorities in terms of fiscal allocation, spatial distribution, prioritization by administrative jurisdictions like agriculture, urban development, education, transport, etc., etc., etc. And the usefulness of this comprehensive special development plan probably retains its power even during the shrinking phase of a decreasing population and the economic transportation, etc., as has just been mentioned by the DG of EMLIT in his remark. In fact, comprehensive development plan functions very well, particularly in the context of drastic transformation, be it expanding or be it shrinking. That's my, the view based on my, several year experience of this area. This kind of discussion, you see, since then, Japan has formulated 6 rounds of national comprehensive spatial development plans, and currently, as has been also mentioned, EMLIT is in the final phase of the formulation of the 7th one. This kind of discussion may be of some interest to today's participant, but probably it requires the whole 2 months to guide you through the entire process and history of Japanese experience. I'll be happy if there could be a different occasion on these issues and exchange opinions and information somewhere, sometime in the world. I'm counting on you, Bruno, on this thing. I forgot. Pragya and Professor Wang may wish to speak some words, right? Yeah, you're supposed to speak, right?
Thank you so much, Yoshinobu-san, and Janak-sir. We'll take just a few minutes to provide a kind of introductory statement, but more of to also express what we want to learn from this special session on spatial planning, experience for strengthening the national land and urban systems in different governance structure. And I would request the colleagues to project the slides. This session, we look forward to hear particularly from the experts from the various government agencies who are here on 2 key questions. But before that, would like to set the tone as well for the session, as SPP has provided us the platform to exchange experiences and learnings to reinforce the need of spatial and territorial planning approach, but which is not only for delivering of the services, but more importantly, for economic, social, and environmental benefits through prudent use of land and the natural resources, and all for achieving balanced and functional urban systems. But we know the challenges are many, and particularly from Nepal, with the new federal structure and three-tiered governance at the national, provincial, and the local level, stronger local government with mandate and authority for urban planning and management. We note the translation of the regional and spatial plans at the local level and how we seek its implementation through this governance structure needs to be unbundled. Amidst this and the climate crisis that Nepal is facing, along with rapid urbanization and extensive inter-regional migration, which is our reality, and we have also seen increased investment of the local government in hard infrastructure. But without its alignment with spatial plans guided by strategic visions, we will continue to see conflict with nature and between people, institutions, and spaces. Hence, this session is very relevant for Nepal to understand how spatial planning approach in different governance structure can support for the balanced urban system, for sharing the development benefits by unleashing our growth potentials. So I'd like to put forward two key questions for which we seek to hear from the speakers today on spatial and territorial planning, which is usually conceived and developed at the national or regional level, while its actual realization and implementation is at the local level with the local government as the major actor. So how can the vertical integration between different tiers of the government in this decentralized governance structure be ensured for localization, adaptation, and implementation of the spatial plans guided by the strategic visions? And the next question is on spatial planning, which is generally prepared by a line ministry or agency, while its implementation in the actual space requires multiple actors, stakeholders, and sectors, not only government, but also non-government, to come together and align their priorities, plans, and investment. So how can this horizontal coordination and harmonization between multiple sectors be ensured for effective implementation of the spatial plan? And we look forward to hear from the speakers and learn more about these practices in various countries in the Asia and the Pacific. With this, I would like to hand it over to Yoshinobu-san.
Thank you very much for the very clear and wise guidance. And Professor Wang, I would like to hear your guidance as well, please.
Okay, thank you very much. I also send you 2 slides, right? So it's talking about, I was requested to talk about what is the topic, why is this topic so critical, and what am I hoping to learn. Anyway, I just, you know, I'm from China, and you've already heard today that we are encouraging the comprehensive spatial development planning, that is to integrate the cross, ministry sectors, subjectives and objectives and questions. So in this respect, we know that firstly, actually, this is a very difficult issue. So we are combining not only the national level, but also to the regional level, provincial level, and the local level. And also we have to integrate from the, to provide a service. And also we mentioned just now the social sector, social objectives, and also economic development aspects, etc., etc. So I think like Bruno just mentioned, in United Nations, the agenda, urban planning haven't been a very strategic role, haven't played a very strategic role. But today I would like to say that how difficult and this mission is. To achieve successful development, different paths should be organized into integrated systems, tier 1 integrated system. That means, well, I mentioned here, firstly, there are contradictions among different parts. So that not only involve different aspects, like when we say the service part, and then the economic objective may conflict against the service part, and also the environmental concerns. We have to, how to conform to the desires of economic growth. So that's also something very conflicting. So a lot of contradictions we have to accommodate. So that is one thing. How can we difficult that? How can we solve that issue? And then if we want to change the contradictory situation, that would mean we have to change the properties of parts. That is, at first, different people, different stakeholders, they will have their own understanding, but we want to create a synergetic totality. Then that would mean they have to change their mind. And then from one point assessment, we will see that this part is basically, better for environmental protection. But if we want to achieve economic growth, that would mean to some extent we have to, take use of that resource for economic development. So that would mean we have to change the attribute of that part to become a economic beneficial part. So in that sense, can we really change the attributes of things? Because current understanding is we have an objective understanding of things. So we start from survey, and then we analysis, and then we plan. But we have an objective basis. So that's another difficult issue. And then if we we can change some parts properties, then we will know that new contradictions will come, right? So if contradictions are eternal in life, in working, then how are we seeking for? We are creating something, seeking for something harmony, and eventually, if we want to change more, and then we will notice that because there are almost infinite parts, and also in reality, that would mean we have to understand the part against a harmony totality. But our current epistemology is the totality is the sum of parts. That is, we know parts at first, and then we get to know the totality. So that completely changed our epistemology. So in the end, I just remind us how difficult our mission is, but also how significant our task is. So I'm really looking forward to hear how different officers, experts, you have met such challenges, and how your wisdom of solution embedded in and in your experiences. So I would say that strengthening national land or urban system is not simply difficult in practice. It's primarily an extraordinary difficult proposition in theory. The frustration of this proposition met in reality is often a reflection of its theoretical immaturity. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Wang. The contradiction and harmony of between parts and totality and parts, relationship between totality and parts, is a rather philosophical question, which is a bit tough, but probably it's a good good challenge to all of the participants, and let us begin thinking about that. And also I would like to remind you of a very well articulated frame that our friend Mr. Bruno Delcon has formulated in his in your remark. It's a very comprehensive and well articulated framework. Probably that would also stimulate your thinking further. So Pragya's tough question, and Dr. Wang's another serious insight, and Bruno's very well articulated framework. All of these probably we will be enjoying a very fruitful discussion of this morning.